In the highlands where the winds carry the whispers of the gods, and the mountains stand as silent witnesses to the unfolding of time, the question seems to echo amongst the cliffs and valleys. What happens when we die? The ancient peoples of Dagestan, our ancestors, had a profound understanding of life, death, and what follows after. To them, the world was not simply a place of material existence, but a realm of deep spiritual significance, woven together with divine presence. I too stand in awe of this truth, for I am but one voice among many who have pondered the mysteries that lie beyond the mortal coil. Let us begin with the question that has stirred the hearts of all people across time. What happens to the soul when the body ceases to be? This question is as old as humanity itself, and even in the cold winds of Dagestan, where the earth meets the sky, it echoes in the silence of our prayers and rituals. Death is not merely the end of life, but the beginning of a journey into the unknown. It is a passage from one realm to another, a transition from the material world into the domain of the spirits. In the ancient Dagestani worldview, death was not feared, but respected. It was understood as part of the great cycle of life, where every soul had its appointed time to pass from the world of the living into that of the dead. Our ancestors believed that when a person dies, their soul does not simply vanish into nothingness. Rather, it continues its journey, guided by the divine forces that govern the universe. But where does it go, and who guides it? To understand this, we must look to the gods and spirits that our people revered. At the highest realm, the gods of the ancient Dagestani pantheon watched over both life and death. Among them, the mighty god of the sky, known as Tengri in some traditions, was seen as the ruler of the heavens, the eternal force who ordained the birth and death of all things. Tengri was not just the creator of the world, but also the keeper of the souls. Those who had lived just and honorable lives were said to be welcomed into Tengri's eternal kingdom, a place of peace and harmony beyond the mortal world. Yet Tengri did not act alone. Alongside him stood lesser deities, each with their domain, who played an integral role in guiding the souls of the departed. Ajdahak, the great serpent god, was often invoked during the transition between life and death. He was believed to reside in the underworld, where souls journeyed after leaving the earthly realm. Ajdahak was not a god of malevolence, but one of transformation, a being who ensured that the soul underwent the necessary purification before it could reach its final resting place. Was it not Ajdahak, after all, who helped the soul shed the weight of earthly sins and falsehoods? Perhaps you ask, what of those who did not live virtuously? What happens to them? That is the question of the hour, and one that our ancestors pondered deeply. It was said that souls who had wronged others, who had lived in ignorance or malice, were sent to wander in the realm of shadows for a time. There, in the darkness of the underworld, they faced their misdeeds and underwent a form of trial, a cleansing process that might allow them to ascend, purified, to the presence of Tengri. If they failed, they remained in the dark lands, lost in the cycle of reincarnation, waiting for another chance to be reborn and correct their path. But this was not a simple matter of punishment, for in the Dagestani view, death was a reflection of the living soul's journey, not merely a sentence or a fate. The gods, including Kali, the spirit of the earth, were seen as patient, waiting for the soul to be ready. The key to this readiness, however, lay not in the passage of time alone, but in the soul's own actions. It was the sum of one's deeds, both in life and in death, that determined the soul's place in the afterlife. It is in this sense that the divine forces acted not out of cruelty, but as guides, pushing the soul towards wisdom, balance, and eventually, unity with the divine. Now, what role do the living have in all this? Is death a matter entirely of the gods, or do we, the living, have power in shaping the fate of the departed? It is here that the connection between the living and the dead becomes most evident. In the mountains of Dagestan, the spirits of our ancestors are never far from our thoughts. It is said that the dead watch over us, offering guidance and protection. Our ancestors are always present in the world of the living, dwelling between realms, waiting to offer their wisdom to those who seek it. The living, then, have a responsibility to honor their ancestors through ritual and remembrance. What could be more important than ensuring that the journey of the soul is not a lonely one? For it is through these acts of reverence that we, the living, assist the departed on their journey, offering sacrifices and prayers to guide them as they cross the boundary between life and death. The rites performed at burial were not merely ceremonial. They were necessary for ensuring that the soul would not be lost or wander aimlessly in the afterlife. The greatest of these rituals was the ziyarat, the pilgrimage to sacred sites, where the living would commune with the spirits of the dead. This act of reverence was seen as an essential part of ensuring that the bond between the realms of the living and the dead remained strong. Through this connection, the ancestors' wisdom could continue to guide us, and their spirits could find peace. And yet, there is a mystery in all of this, a question that remains unanswered, even by the most ancient of philosophers. What lies beyond the great veil of death? Our ancestors spoke of a place beyond our understanding, where the soul transcends its earthly burdens and becomes one with the eternal. Was this the domain of Tengri, or was it a place beyond even his grasp? The ancient Dagestani sages were wise, but they too acknowledged that the final fate of the soul was a secret known only to the gods. Perhaps in their great wisdom, they wished to leave some mysteries unsolved, for it is in our pursuit of these answers that we find meaning in our existence. In this way, we return to the central idea of our philosophy. Death is not an end, but a beginning. The cycle continues, and the soul, whether it ascends to Tengri's heavenly realm or lingers in the shadowed world of Ajdahak, is always moving toward something greater, something beyond mortal understanding. So, as you ponder this question, let your thoughts wander as the winds of Dagestan do, carrying with them the wisdom of the ages. For in the search for answers, in the pursuit of truth, lies the very essence of life itself. And though we may never fully understand what happens when we die, we can be certain of one thing: the journey of the soul is eternal, and it is a journey worth living for. Do you not feel the weight of this truth? That in death, as in life, we are always bound to something greater than ourselves, a cosmic order that transcends the limitations of our human understanding. Perhaps that is what makes the ancient Dagestani view of death so profound. It is not a finality, but an unfolding mystery, and it is ours to embrace, to honor, and to seek understanding in every step of our lives.